Indy Mogul.
This week on Indy News, a few Oscar predictions and a game that spices up the awards show. I answer your follow-up questions about wedding films and take you through my latest freelance project. Hey Indy Mogulers, Griffin here. The Oscars are this Sunday, and if you want to make them more interesting to watch, download my numbered Oscar ballot, and before each winner is announced, toss a token with your name on it in the bucket corresponding with who you think will win. A correct guess earns 1 point, but you get double points if you didn't vote with the majority, or you get 5 points if you're the only one who correctly picks the winner. I can't give away all my Oscar predictions because I bet my friends are watching right now, but I will share a couple. I saw all the live-action shorts this week that are nominated, and I'm betting Curfew will win. It's about a drug addict trying to commit suicide when he's interrupted by a phone call. Interestingly, the director Sean Christensen is also the lead actor. That's just like director Luke Matheny, who also played the lead role in his Oscar-winning short, God of Love. His advice for making a great film? Just make the film that you would enjoy watching. I'm also betting that Life of Pi will beat The Hobbit for visual effects, but I'll let you decide. I have behind-the-scenes videos from each film in today's playlist. On my last 2 episodes, I showed you how to produce 2 very different projects, a zombie film and a wedding film. And today I'll talk more about working as a freelancer, and I'll show you another project, how to produce a real estate video. But first, I got hundreds of great questions on last week's wedding film episode. Many of you wanted to know how I'm able to shoot for longer than 12 minutes. Many Canon DSLRs, like the Rebel T3i, have that recording limit. That's because SD cards use a FAT32 file system, which can't handle files bigger than 4 gigabytes. That's 12 minutes. But many cameras, like my Panasonic GH2 and GH3, don't stop recording. A long video clip spans multiple files on the card. This camera keeps rolling until the SD card fills up or the battery runs out, unless you buy it in Europe. That's because in Europe, taxes are higher on video cameras than they are on photography cameras, and the law says that a video camera can record continuously for at least 30 minutes. So DSLR manufacturers tell their cameras to stop recording at 29 minutes 59 seconds. That sucks, but there are ways around it, like firmware hacks, like Magic Lantern for Canon cameras. But if you can't install one of those firmware hacks, I recommend wearing a stopwatch. That way you at least know when to go check on your unmanned camera to tell it to record again. Some of you asked about my DVDs. I hate DVDs because they're not high definition and they take a while to produce. I don't have a Blu-ray burner, no one's ever asked me to produce a Blu-ray, and I bet they never will, because these days it's so easy to share HD files online. That's how I get my clients their high-quality video files. But some clients still need a DVD. So to make it as simple as possible, I put all the navigation on one menu screen, and instead of printing labels, I use a LightScribe burner to mark a design right on the disc. I use a clear case so I don't need to print a cover. I got a lot of questions about contracts, and I'm not a lawyer, so I'm sure my contract is not legally perfect, but it's nice to have a written agreement when you want to be paid for your work. So here's my wedding video contract. I need info like phone number, the location of the ceremony, and I ask for the client to sign off on the price. The second page explains that half the money is due before the wedding, and that we both have rights to copy and share the video. Lots of you wanted to know what I charge for weddings and what you should charge. When I was in high school, my friend Nick and I shot our first wedding and we got $200, which sounded awesome, but after a long day of shooting and even longer editing, we realized $200 was not worth our time. These days, I charge about $2,000 for a wedding film. But it will depend on you and your market to determine a price. Start by figuring out what your hourly rate should be. Mine is $75 an hour. But 3 years ago, it was only $40. I've gradually raised it as I've become a better filmmaker, bought better equipment, and realized the demand for my skills in my market. Between the shooting, editing, and distribution of a wedding film, it takes me about 40 hours of production. So if I charged my normal $75 rate, that would be a $3,000 wedding film. but I don't know if young brides and grooms are willing to spend that much. So price is a combination of what you believe your skills are worth and what people in your market are actually willing to pay. Weddings are a lot of fun, but they don't pay as well as other projects. Businesses are willing to pay my full rate because usually they make money off the videos I make for them. And because I'm a one-man band, I am cheaper than hiring a local studio to produce a commercial. Another opportunity for freelance videographers is real estate. Houses for sale always have photos, but many realtors recognize that video is a great way to virtually walk someone through a home. And these videos are relatively simple to make. You don't even need audio gear, just a tripod and a wide-angle lens. Even though I love the focal length of my Sigma 30mm for narrative work, it's too tight for home tours. A real estate video shouldn't focus too much on close-up details, but give viewers a sense of the full space. This 14mm prime is wide enough to show how spacious the room is, and it's fast enough to work well with natural light. But I also brought in my DIY light to help balance out the bright sun. Movement helps viewers better understand the space. It's what separates this from photos, so I use a lot of tilting and panning, and my glide cam is a beautiful way to experience the space. To keep the production moving quickly, I shot everything at 60 frames per second, so I could perform quicker camera movements and slow them down in the editing. The only downside here is that the motion blur looks perfect in slow motion, but the shutter is a little choppy at full speed. I find myself wanting to spend lots of extra time perfecting, like wouldn't it be cool to motion track the graphics onto the moving video? But keep the goal of the video in mind. Cooler graphics probably won't sell the house any faster, so I should keep it simple and keep the cost low for my client. Speaking of low cost, I found a great song on freemusicarchive.org. It's a Creative Commons attribution license, meaning I need to give credit to the artist. I throw away half the shots in editing. As you can see, some angles just show the space better than others. I try to keep videos like this around 2 minutes. That's about how much attention span viewers have for these kinds of videos. So you probably want to start off with the most important features. Here I use the sound of birds chirping to help you feel the outdoors. It's the real nat sound from my original footage, but I did pull a longer recording from a different shot to span several of these shots. Editing is always manipulation, but with a real estate video, it's important to present the information truthfully. It would be dishonest if I used a fake sound effect, even though that's standard in narrative filmmaking. If you want to see the full real estate video I produced, you can click right here to check it out. Remember, it's not on my channel, it's on my client's channel, so if you have any questions or comments about the production, you should leave those here. Also on today's playlist is the trailer for Curfew, the live-action short film that I think will win the Oscar. I also have visual effects behind the scenes for The Hobbit and Life of Pi. Even though Life of Pi will probably win, the Hobbit video is pretty interesting to watch. And finally, I have this week's new and notable video contests. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again on Wednesday's live show to answer your questions at 6 p.m. New York time. That's 11 p.m. GMT. So I'll see you then.